Hi, this is Joe, and thanks for coming back for another video. We have electric hand planer that I ordered on Amazon, and we're going to take a look at that today. So let's go ahead and do some unboxing here and check out the quality of this electric hand planer. It came double boxed. There's some bubble wrap in a larger cardboard box. Let's take a look at this. This is a Jellas electric planer, and little bulge right here. We'll open this up, make sure the condition is okay. Looks pretty decently packed. Let's go get some tools. We have a couple tools here. Looks like we have a dust collection bag. Looks like there is a guide for planing along straight surfaces. Looks like we have a spare drive belt. There's even a spare set of brushes. Looks like there are an extra set of blades, some brackets, and a screw to mount the guide. The instructions are quite nice. There's images explaining each of the steps during the assembly and how to change the blades and the dust port. This is the bottom of the planer here. There is a depth stop that's adjustable here. There is a clamping mechanism here, and set your guide. So we'll put that on here in a minute. Basically, there's a thumb screw there. There's a bracket or a bolt on the bottom that holds the parallel guide together. With the planer, you get a 2-year warranty through the manufacturer. There's an Allen wrench and a open-end wrench, and these two tools are used to replace the blades. The blades are installed from the factory, so they do give you an extra set of blades. And the instructions are very clear on how to remove and replace the blades. There's a retractable foot on the back end of the planer. So when you set the planer down on its foot, it keeps, that foot protects the blades of the planer from touching your surface. Your belt, drive belt, is underneath this cover, and they do provide you with an extra belt. So you would loosen these 3 screws, remove the screws. You can get at the belt for belt replacement right here. Another nice feature, on this side there's a locking dust collector knob here. You would push this through. What you can do is you can change the dust port to be either on the left side or the right side, depending on which side you're planing on. So that's a nice feature. There is a locking push button start. There's a handle here, and there's a 0 to 3 millimeter height adjuster for the foot plate on the front, which moves the foot up and down to set your cutting depth for the blades. To mount the guide, the parallel guide, we have the bracket mounted to the parallel guide. There is some metric measurements here. What you do is on the side there's a thumb screw. So we would loosen the thumb screw and remove the thumb screw. We can then stick it through the hole in the guide. And there's 2 little tracks on the side of the planer for the parallel guide to ride along. So now we have the parallel guide mounted. If you want to change the width, you can move that guide in and out for the width of the material you want to plane. The knob in the front sets your blade height, and it's adjustable from 0 to 3 millimeters. So by rotating this, you can set the height of this foot here in the front, and this foot controls how much of the blades are exposed through the bottom plate. Your dust port ejector is here. There is a elastic dust collection bag. You can then put that over the dust port ejector, and you now have your dust port mounted. Let me explain how this rabbeting foot works. On the right hand side of the planer, there's an adjustable foot here. So if you want to cut a rabbet cut, basically that's just a step. You would then come in, let's say, and set the distance of 10 millimeters, let's say, and then you would keep on planing, making small cuts until the lower portion of the rabbet goes down, and then when you get a height of let's say 10 millimeters, the foot would stop. So that would be the top portion of your rabbet cut. So that's what that's for. So if you're not cutting rabbet cuts, you want to move this foot up out of the way so it won't interfere when you're just doing straight planing. But that's the purpose of that rabbeting foot. Another feature this planer has is there's these little bevels or grooves that have been machined into the foot portion of the planer. These so you can put the, and I'll do a demonstration of how these work, but you can do chamfer cuts on the edges of the wood that you're planing. Most planers just have one guide in here. This has 3 guides, so you can get different angles of chamfer, and I'll show you how that works. I have the foot stop set at 1 millimeter, so every time we take a cut, we're going to do a 1 millimeter cut. It's always wise when you're using a planer to take more smaller cuts than one larger cut. You'll get a smoother finish, you'll get a more accurate flat surface when you're planing if you take smaller cuts than just take more cuts. When you're planing a surface, you want to start with the foot flat, and you want to put your weight on the forward portion of the planer. You don't want to come in with the planer at an angle, or you'll cut out a divot here, and you don't want that. So always when you're starting to plane, put pressure on the front. Now as you're planing along the surface and you get down here to the end, you want to put the weight on the heel or the plate of the foot, so that when you come off the wood, the pressure is on this portion. If you let the front plate go down, you'll cut another divot at this end. So you want to distribute your weight so that the planer is always flat and parallel to the surface of the wood that you're cutting. Otherwise, you'll have gouges, and then you'll have to plane that out. So we're going to go ahead and knock some of the radius off of this wood. These hand planers are great for when you want to work on doors, trimming down any small portion. And also I'll be showing you how to do a rabbeting cut. So we'll do that on a flat piece of wood. But let's go ahead and show you how the planer works. Just to put this in perspective, this planer is $61 on Amazon. It's 7.5 amps. If you go to a big box store like Home Depot, there's a Ryobi. It's $80. It's only 6 amp. So there's a lot of features, there's a lot of replacement parts that come with this unit. This unit is much cheaper. We'll see how this one cuts. Again, it does have 7.5 amps versus the Ryobi 6 amp. I like this, has the removable and replaceable dust ejector port, so you can move it to either side. It has the rabbeting foot, it has the guide, and we'll do some cutting here to see how it works. Always keep your hands away from the rotating blades. Common sense, but please do it. Also, wear your eye protection and your ear protection. It isn't that loud, but still you want to protect your wear your PPE. Always wear your protective gear. So let's go ahead and do some planing now. As you can see, we have a fairly smooth surface now. The setting was a millimeter at a time on the cut, which is a very small cut. Gives you a very nice flat surface. So now I'm going to show you how to do the chamfering. Now what you have is we have a sharp edge here. Let's say we want to chamfer this edge. So what we can do, in this case there's this position, we put the edge of the wood on this one groove, either that groove or the center groove. If you look closely now, we have a really nice chamfer on this edge. At 7.5 amps, there's no bogging down of the motor. The planer cuts nice and smooth. It doesn't appear to be bogging at all. So there's plenty of power for working on, again, your different types of wood. So this is looking really nice. The dust bag doesn't leak at all. So just a very small little bit of sawdust. If you want to use a dust collection system with this, you just pull your bag off, put your dust collection attachment on the dust port ejector here, and it will then sweep up all of your dust collection from the planer itself. Let's go over now and show you how the rabbeting foot works. Let's show how the rabbeting foot is going to work. Let's say we have a flat piece of wood here and we want to cut a step in this so that this portion of the cut is lower than the edge here. So what we have is, on the rabbeting foot, I've set the foot to be deeper by 5 millimeters. So we can keep on going until the surface of the planing surface rests on this foot, and then that will give us a measurement of our rabbet here. So let's go ahead and start cutting this, and I'll show you how this is going to work. The rabbet will be on the right hand portion of the wood. If you can look right here, you'll start to see the rabbet forming, where this is lower than this portion right here. Let's take a couple more cuts. So notice you're getting your rabbet cut here. If you want to adjust that, you can just adjust the parallel cutting guide, and then you can start making further cuts to increase the depth of your rabbet cut. All in all, for $61, I think this is a really nice hand planer. It's cheaper than some of the competitors out on the market. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. We'll see you next time.